Hey everyone, in today's video I'll be doing a full review of the Pale Rider unit. So I'll be covering all of his abilities, how effective he is, the best way to use him, and how difficult it is for this character to be mastered. So without further ado, let's go over his full setup. With his weapon, we have an assault rifle, or a bullpup rifle to be more exact. You got 24 shots in the magazine with a medium rate of fire, so nothing too crazy, but the damage on it is pretty nice though. From close range to medium distance, you can hit for 60 damage to the chest, 120 to the head, and 45 into the legs. Once you enter more of a longer range engagement, you'll really start to notice your damage dropping off by almost half of what you normally dish out. So the best distance to use this weapon would be from a medium range, because it doesn't have a crazy rate of fire to be really good up close, and you're able to aim down sights for more accurate shots at the cost of some movement speed. Especially with us having only 2 thrusters to use at a time, we're not going to be able to dash right into a fight to get up close and then get away safely. It's more for dashing in and out of cover to get some shots off while trying to avoid taking any incoming attacks ourselves. On top of that, we do have 1000 health, so we are able to take a bit of a beating if we do mess up by going out of position or we just get flanked from another angle. Now, one of his abilities is really nice for this. When we take a lot of damage or we're trying to hold a corner to deny enemies from pushing forward. This being the repair pod, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Throw out a little device that heals all allies in a small circle around it. The healing power on this thing is crazy good. Usually if you have one of these affecting you while you're trading shots with somebody, you're almost always going to win in those situations, but there are some downsides to it. For example, it has a long cooldown of 14 seconds. Because of that, you want to be cautious with trying to find the best time to use this during a solo fight or a team fight. Obviously, if you're really close to death and, enemies are somewhere near, then yeah, throw it out to heal yourself up, because regenerating your own health will take a bit of time to do so. Then the last 2 problems with it is it doesn't last for a very long time. Like, you'll still be able to fire off a full magazine of your weapon while being healed. So for one entire magazine, you can peek around a corner and not worry too much about dying. And again, this does apply to teammates as well. Now, the last issue with it is it's extremely fragile. If you're in the middle of a big team fight and you decide to just throw it out in the middle of it, odds are it's gonna be destroyed before it can actually do anything. So the best place you'll want to throw this is right behind the corner of a big fight, because you'll keep it safe behind a wall, making it more difficult for people to destroy it while still being in range of its healing circle. Probably the most impactful ability in his entire kit during huge fights. But anyways, I think that covers everything about his repair pod. So let's move on to another one of his abilities, which is the complete opposite of this, the hand grenade. It's pretty much an impact grenade that explodes on the first thing that it comes into contact with. Hitting somebody directly in the chest with this deals 350 damage. Surprisingly, it's not crazy hard to get a direct impact with it, because this unit whips this thing like an absolute missile. It's got some really good travel speed, hitting its mark almost in an instant, and it's thrown with a lot of power as well. What I mean by this is you don't have to adjust it by a lot when you're throwing it from a distance, so it just makes it really easy to use. Having good damage, travel speed, and range, it's just a solid piece of utility all around. Not to worry, you don't have to land a direct hit with it. Obviously, you're going to do the most damage doing so, but if it happens to land near your target, it does have a splash effect as well. The damage drop-off is similar to the assault rifle. With the grenade landing close, it will usually do around 80% of its max damage, whereas it landing just a bit farther away, it will drop down closer to 60%, then reaching its lowest at 40% before it becomes out of range completely. Now, the cooldown on it isn't actually that bad, having an 8-second downtime to it. I'm saying it's not that bad because it's not a crazy piece of utility that you really depend on to flip an entire team fight in an instance. Like, yes, it'll do some good damage with the possibility of hitting multiple people, but I found it to be more useful up close when dealing with a single enemy, kinda like a quick 1v1. Then his last ability is also really good for those 1v1 situations, or if you're being chased by a melee user, the EMP grenade. All it does is slow an enemy's movement down. Very simple and straightforward, except I found it to be a little bit difficult and situational to use, because when you do throw it out, it doesn't go that far at all, making it only usable in close range situations. On top of that, it has a longer cooldown of 10 seconds, so when you do throw it out, you really want to make sure it lands, because it does have some potential to killing off an opponent or getting out of a situation you don't really want to be in, even though it does no damage. Either way, I think it has some great potential if used correctly during those close range encounters. And just like the repair pod ability, it does have some pros and cons to it as well. Some of the cons we already mentioned, having a long cooldown, not being able to throw it that far, and the last one to it is the slow effect doesn't last for a long time either. It appears that the slow effect seems to be effective for around 1.5 to 2 seconds, just enough time to realign your aim to get off some easy headshots with a very good possibility of you getting that kill. Now those are all of the cons, but the upside to it is it does have a lingering effect. Once it makes contact with your target or hits any surfaces, it'll create a small EMP bubble. When enemies walk through this, they will also be slowed. So even if you miss a direct impact with it, there's still a good chance of your target walking into it. Just like the slow duration, the bubble will last for only 1.5 to 2 seconds max. Just a bit of time to make a final judgment call if you want to go into that fight or escape and look for a better position. So the best way to use this is to either slow an opponent down from rushing you, or if you decide to rush your opponent that's around a corner, to make it as easy as possible to land all of your shots. Now lastly, for our abilities, we have the ultimate H.A.D.E.S. When we activate this, we get increased movement speed, bullet damage, and reload speed for 12 seconds. To be more exact, we get a bit more than 50% increased bullet damage. Shots to the chest deal 97 damage opposed to 60, critical shots do 194 versus 120, and hits to the legs deal 73 instead of 45. This is all done while being in medium to close range just like before, because there still is a damage drop off while shooting from a very far distance even if this is activated. Then in terms of reload speed, it is absolutely insane. Normally reloading our weapon just takes a little bit more than 2 seconds, which I've never found to be that bad at all. But when we have our ultimate H.A.D.E.S activated, it only takes 3/4 of a second to reload. Not even a full second, and your gun is ready to go with another 24 rounds in the clip. Definitely a crazy ultimate that can flip an entire fight in just a matter of seconds. Lastly, we also get about a 25% increased movement speed for the duration of it. In these two clips, one of them took me 9 seconds with the ultimate activated to run across the shooting range. Then the other one is being done without it being activated, taking me close to 12 seconds for the same length. The only downside to this ultimate is it gives you too much confidence when you start it up. Like sometimes I tend to find myself just charging headfirst full speed at a group of enemies, which isn't a bad thing if your team is pushing them back and they're at around half health. But I end up going in when they're at full health just because the damage boost, speed boost, and reload speed makes you feel like you can take them all out, which you can in given situations. So the best times to activate this ultimate is when your team is pushing back opponents just to help add more momentum with the push from all of your offensive buffs. Or if you manage to place yourself in a good position for a flank, the amount of speed and damage you have is more than enough to melt even the tankiest units in the game with just a handful of seconds. Some things you should keep in mind when you are using this is it doesn't make you tanky at all, so you have to be aware of the amount of damage you're taking when going in. Then lastly, once the ultimate is done, your character enters this animation for a second or two that leaves you completely vulnerable. So you want to try to find a safe spot to go to right before the timer runs out. So I think that covers everything for his ultimate. Don't get too cocky with the ult going and you should be perfectly fine. The final things I want to mention about this character is his difficulty to use and how effective he is all around. And honestly, I think the Pill Rider unit is an amazing beginner character that has all of the basic fundamentals you'd find in most first-person shooter games. So for this reason, I don't find him to be a difficult character to play if you're used to playing FPS games, like most people do. And just because I think he's a good beginner character and fairly straightforward to use, doesn't mean he's not effective. If anything, I think his simplicity is what makes him so effective, just being able to play this character and right away know how to generally use his entire kit because it's all very straightforward. Not to say that there isn't more ways you can get better with him, but the learning curve does appear later on though. So with all of that being said, the Pill Rider unit is a fantastic choice in most given situations. Now, before I end the video off with some more gameplay of the Pill Rider, I do want to give a big thanks to the members of my channel for supporting me on my videos and the future ones to come. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope I'll see you all in the next one.
Preparations complete. Pilots, begin your assault.
Let's get out there and tear him up.
Roger, I'll back you up. Fight well, pilot.
Chew on that! I'm on a roll. This is gonna hurt.
Objective contested. Select control of the target area.
Break that shield!
We captured objective C. Objective contested. Fight for control of the target area. Nice work. Anyone out there? I need a boost.
Gotta look. Yes! Follow my lead! This is gonna hurt. I'm here for you.
Now let's
System shot. Crash one string. That's the least we can do.
round complete.
This is gonna hurt. I won't even leave a mark. I got you covered. Get rid of their flyer. Help is on the way. That's one down. Securing this area. Alright. It's ours.
Enemy units destroyed.
One down. This should help is on the way. And the paint now. This is gonna
Area contested. An allied mobile suit has been destroyed.
Where's that shield? What you want there?
I'm offline. Requesting emergency repairs.
Our forces have it.
Here we go. Flash one boat. Help is on the way.
Revival confirmed. Returning to combat.
This is gonna
An allied mobile suit has been destroyed.
This is gonna hurt.
Target changed to objective C.
E-maneuver standing by. Up this bad boy. You want this?
Stop.
Come in, help me. Turn away. Cover me. Come in, help me.
Area contested.
Today is my day.
Objective contested.
Roger.
Objective contested.
Using an area G confirmed. Using an area G
Cover me.
confirmed.
Capturing objective C. Captured objective C.
All right. Sorry.
Area contested.
I'm here for you.
An allied mobile suit has been destroyed. Area contested.
Spotted me. What you want next? Cover me.
Using an area G confirmed.
Watch out for that AoE.
Hostile unit confirmed.
Objective contested.
Securing this area.
3 minutes remaining. Target changed to objective C.
Scratch one boat. Hostiles on my six.
Enemy G maneuver.
Can't move. Mission.
Anyone out there? I need a boost.
Help is on the way. Let's get them back on their feet. Come in, Nick Bounty. That's one down. Mission. That went perfect. This is bad. Soon can't take much more. You want this?
Area
turtle over here. Reloading. Good job. Let's rock and roll. Time to settle this. It's on the way.
Capturing objective C. Capturing objective C.
All right. It's ours. This is gonna...
Target changed to objective A.
Help is on the way. Reloading. Cover me. Chew on that. I've got you covered. Help is on the way. Go up.
Objective contested.
This is gonna hurt. All right. It's ours. Mission. Scratch one code.
Area contested.
Suit's not responding. I'm here for you. Chew on this.
Area contested.
I'm on the roll.
Our forces have the advantage.
Roger. Keep your eye on it. Help is on the way.
Fight for control of the target area. Fight for control of the target area. 3 minutes remaining. Target changed to objective C.
Hostile shield tanks left.
This bad boy. Chew on this. Spotted me. Enemy being revived over here.
Captured objective C. Objective contested.
Got you covered. Target lock detected.
Area contested. Allied unit down.
Give me some backup. Hostiles on my six. I'm here for you. Chew on that.
1 minute remaining.
Keep your eye on it. Scratch one code. Standing by.
Anyone out there? We need a
Load of this bad boy. Enemy unit sight. Spotted me. Scratch one code.
30 seconds left in the mission.
This is gonna... Got an enemy being revived over here. Damn it, they found me.
6 in a row. Fantastic. Now entering open.
Enemy G maneuvers online.
Mission complete. Victory is ours.
Boom, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Camaraderie. Just tell me where the next fight is.